I'm Morgan from the KSBJ Afternoon Show, and we are here with Peter Burton. And Peter, you are going to be here, a guest on Breaking the Ice. So I'm going to ask you icebreaker questions, and if you feel uncomfortable about any of them, please answer anyway.
Okay. I'm ready.
Okay, no, but you really don't have to. Seriously.
I do.
Does your family have a nickname for you?
My family.
Like when you were a kid or in your current family?
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. My grandpa would always be the one who gives the nickname to each of his grandchildren. And then that sticks for the rest of the family. So I was Peter the Rock because, you know, Peter in the Bible, his name means rock. And so I got the biblical name of the family. And it's funny because I also really relate to Peter in the Bible. Like I need to put my foot in my mouth a lot because I kind of speak very boldly and aggressively in the sense that like Peter in the Bible needed to keep his mouth shut sometimes. So I feel like I was very appropriately named.
So did the other grandkids also get Bible nicknames, or they
No. So like my oldest sister was Cookie because she's Nicole, and yeah. So I was the only biblical because I am the only biblical name in my family.
Okay. So he didn't have a lot to work with when it came to Nicole.
He didn't. It was like, yeah, Cookie, but you know, I don't know.
What's your favorite midnight snack?
My favorite midnight snack is going to be Dots pretzels.
Oh,
but they got to be Dots.
They're so good. Right? All of the imposters, they don't count.
Oh, I know, because they've got that seasoning.
Mm-hmm.
So we went through this thing in my family where we would go through all the different flavors just to come back and discover that the original, it's the best.
Will they make like a honey mustard one now?
Yeah, don't sleep on the honey mustard ones. Those are good. But the Parmesan ones, Dots, if you're ever listening to this, no offense, but the original's the way to go.
So this isn't officially sponsored, but if Dots is interested.
I'm game. I'm so game right now. Dots, but here's, you got to dip them in, this might be kind of weird, cottage cheese.
That is weird.
It's weird, huh?
Yeah.
I'm an interesting one to pin down, but
do you have a lot of like weird combination snacks?
No, this one's probably the weirdest because it's like, you know, cottage cheese is protein. Mm-hmm. So it's like a little protein, but it's like a little dairy-esque.
You try and make it healthy?
Yeah, kind of. Sure. But then it was like, I was on a health journey that then just came back to Dots.
Yeah.
And now it like makes me feel a little bit.
Yeah, sure. It makes you feel good. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a random celebrity encounter?
Off the top of my head.
Well, no. I thought flying in out of Nashville a lot, you might have bumped into somebody or stolen overhead space from Lyle Lovett on an airplane.
I love it.
I saw him at the Nashville airport.
I mean, it wasn't I accidentally showed up a spot where Taylor Swift was arriving to meet fans, but I didn't like bump into Taylor.
Did you realize they were there for her and not you?
I definitely did. This was before I wasn't even an artist. So, But my wife and I, we were in Nashville and we were going to, I think, Milk and Honey or some breakfast restaurant. And then all these people showed up. And then all of a sudden, Taylor Swift just pulls up in a car, gets out, says hi. I'm like, oh, when in Nashville.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So I guess that's the most random one.
A lot of people would have paid to be in your shoes.
I know. That's what was amazing about it. I was like, I'm just in Nashville.
Yep.
And there's T-Swift right there.
What is a job that you would be terrible at?
There's a lot. Okay. Immediately what comes to mind is anything to do with math.
Mm-hmm. Same.
Nah, not going to happen.
Yeah.
But I did get fired from a job. So I guess that would automatically prove that I'm not good at that job. Although I would disagree because I think I was so good at the job. It's just there's things I did that involved disobeying.
What was the job?
Okay. So I worked at Starbucks and I got fired from Starbucks.
That's hard.
I love Starbucks. No hard feelings. Okay. No, it's not that it was hard. It's that I was the opening shift and Starbucks is like the earliest opening coffee shop that exists. And I had to be at work at 3:45 a.m. Now, mind you, this is when I'm in my like early 20 college years. We don't go to bed early. And because I have to get up at 3 a.m. to make it to work by 3:45 a.m. No, so I was late one too many times, but that wasn't the other reason is that, I don't even know if I should say this on camera, is that I was,
yes, you should.
So don't judge me anyone right now, okay? This is prodigal years. My friends would come in and give me a hand motion as to what drink they want. And then I would make the drink and I would put it up on the bar and then they would come pick it up. and I was giving away, let's just say I was gifting too many free drinks, but I was good at making those drinks.
You were late one too many times and stealing from the company.
Kind of. And you know what they said when they fired me? They were like, we love you. Cause I was like, I'm a pretty likable person, and I was good at making coffee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just these other areas weren't really lining up with the company policy. And they're like, we need to let you go to be an example of what you can't do when you work here.
That's what everybody wants to be, right? What's your coffee order?
Just if I'm going to get anything, it's going to be black coffee, but it's going to be cold brew.
Yeah.
It has to be cold brewed coffee.
Right. Not just iced coffee.
Yeah. Thank you.
I got you.
A lot of people don't know the difference.
There is a big difference.
Big difference, because we got to get that acidity out of there, right? We got that smooth flavor.
Yeah.
But I will say, every once in a while, like what I had here, a little cortado.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm doing the flat white from there right now.
Okay. So you like a little more milk.
Just a little bit.
Just a little more milk.
Yep.
Okay.
Last one. What is something that takes up too much of your time?
In a good way or a bad way?
I mean, I wouldn't say like reading my Bible takes too much of my time, right? I don't think you can take too much in a good way. So like for me, it's the phone game Royal Kingdom. I can't stop playing it. So like, what is the thing that takes up too much of your time?
Probably
stealing from Starbucks.
Stealing from Starbucks. Yeah, probably being a thief. Oh gosh. The things that take up too much of my time is probably looking at boots online.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm a big boot guy.
How many pairs of boots do you think you own?
10 maybe.
This is probably for the editing room floor, but we were just talking to Moises a minute ago about how he owns, was it 3 pairs of pants? 2 pairs of pants. So I think you guys could get together and maybe come to some sort of middle ground.
Wow. Yeah. Maybe we could.
It's a lot of boots.
It's a lot of boots, but I don't know what it is with guys. Like, a lot of guys are into shoes and sneaker game, and all that. And I was into the whole sneaker thing for a while. And then I just got into boots and it was bad. And so not a lot of people know this. I don't know if anyone knows this, but yeah, sometimes on my phone, I'm looking at online shopping for boots.
They're over there like, oh, look, he's writing another worship song.
Yeah, like, he's reading. He's on you version right now. It's like, no, I'm in you need a new boots version right now.
I love it. All right, let's transition just a little bit. And I would love to know about your family.
Yes.
Yeah, you have
I have the sweetest.
Is it 2 kids?
Yes. My beautiful wife, Allie. We've been married for 10 years. And then our 1-year-old, Summer, who is just she's the sweetest little girl in the world, but she also is trying to keep her alive from like jumping off of things right now. That's what I spend too much of my time doing.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. That's the one. And then my 4-year-old Savannah. And so I'm a full-on girl dad, and I fully embrace it. Awesome. And I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. My 4-year-old is the most extroverted human you'll ever meet in your life. If you took every ounce of extrovert out of my wife and me, shoved it into a little 4-year-old body, that's Savannah. And she is hilarious. We're starting to have real conversations now because she's 4. The other day we're watching this show and I'm like, hey, those pumpkins look fake. We're watching a Halloween like pumpkin show after Christmas. That's what happens when you have little kids. I don't know. I'm like, those pumpkins look fake. She's like, yeah, they look like they're made out of wood. And I was like, I think they're made out of plastic. And she's like, yeah, that's what I meant, plastic. I was like, this is sweet. We're having like an adult conversation. And then immediately she goes, but my hands aren't made out of plastic. And I go, oh, really? What are your hands made out of? And she looks at her hand and she like stops the conversation. And I can see she's like really like, what is my hand made out of? And she goes, God power.
Oh,
I'm like, awesome. Oh, come on.
That's one of those things that's going to get told every like Christmas, every graduation. Everything. Like, it's going to be one of those stories.
This was last week and it was awesome. So I'm living in the world of having fun, obviously complex conversations with my 4-year-old and then trying to keep my 1-year-old alive.
That's awesome.
And my wife is the best mom, best wife ever. And she's just, she's like an endurance athlete also.
Really?
And a personal trainer. So she makes sure our family
Are you intimidated about that because you sing for a living and she
Yeah, I basically, so I will wake up
She
and
does things.
I am not exaggerating. I will wake up, come out at like 6 a.m. and she will have just gotten back from a 13-mile run. That could be a Tuesday.
Yeah.
So I just wake up feeling like a failure every day, and it's great. But I'm like, you know what I did? I made a cortado.
Yeah,
So
right.
what now?
We've all accomplished things,
Right.
Allie. We've all
Yeah.
accomplished things.
But she's the best, and she's been just a major support of my entire artist journey. And honestly, like her drive for what she does has really been inspiring for me and going after my dreams and stuff. So
That's
it's
cool.
been really cool.
Now, from what I understand, Lincoln Brewster plays a fairly pivotal role in how
Yeah.
you got to where you are.
Yeah, he does.
So for anybody who doesn't know, Lincoln has been around worship
Yeah.
music and Christian music for a really long time, and is
Yeah.
sort of known for being a worship leader.
Yeah, he's a legend in the Christian music industry and in the music industry in general as like a guitar player and stuff. And so I grew up doing church, and I was a part of the local church and worship teams. That's kind of how I got my start in music. Was like, I always say, music kind of formed my relationship with Jesus because the local church was the only place that would let me play live on weekends.
Right.
So I just kept showing up, you know, like,
It was
hey,
like, the bars don't want me, the pubs don't want me, but
it's
church
like,
will take me. Yeah.
It was like, So it just was a place I would show up to play music. And then through that, my heart for God really grew.
That's cool.
I ended up loving worship music and all that. And so then I grew up in a town that was about 30 minutes from where Lincoln was, and he was at a church there, a church that I'm on staff at now, actually. But Lincoln was blowing up. His music was all over the radio, and I was like, I got to get around this guy. So I ended up finding my way down to the church, being a part of their college group, and then eventually, by the grace of God, figuring out how to become on staff there on their music team, and then befriended Lincoln, and then he asked me to be in his band. And so then I ended up going on the road with Lincoln, touring with him for 10 plus years probably. And then I was going out traveling with him. He was the like executive worship pastor at the church. So he was like doing all the artist stuff and was pastoring the church. And so I would go out on the road with him, and then we would come back and I'd lead worship with him on stage when I was back. And so he was kind of really instrumental in helping me grow as a musician, as a leader, as a pastor. And he didn't bring me out on the road because I was I played bass for him. I was some great bass player. I was actually more of a guitar player.
Yeah.
But I was able to play bass well enough to go out with him, and he used it as like a training ground for me. Like I want to see Lincoln as a developer. If you know Lincoln, you know he loves to develop people and give back, and that's something I'll always be just insanely grateful for. And so what's funny is I actually told him, true story, like a week after I went out and played my first show with Lincoln, we went and played at a church in Vegas, and we finished that gig, and I was like, I quit. I don't want to be your bass player. And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, I don't want to be a bass player. I want to be a worship leader. And he was like, well, no offense, but I mean, there's a lot of really great bass players out there that we could probably have come play bass. But he's like, do you know why I want you to play bass? And I was like, no. He's like, I want you to be out here so I can show you what it's like to lead in these different environments, so you can take that back. Bass is just an avenue that we can use to have you be out here doing this with me. And it was like, oh, so I had to like really, I was a 20-year-old, like, I had to humble myself.
Right.
And it ended up being the greatest experience I could have ever had to go out to see how you lead worship in front of 30 people or 30,000 people, or, we were playing in every type of venue you could imagine. And I got to see how to pastor people in moments. And I just got to just sit back and do that for a long time. And then I started writing music, started writing songs for him, and then started writing songs for other people and bands and stuff. And then kind of found my way as a songwriter and started producing some stuff, and then decided, I think I want to do this artist thing. And Link was one of the guys who I'm here today because he believed in me and helped, I got to stand on his shoulders a bit, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Which I'm really thankful for.
What does it feel like to have somebody pour into you like that?
Oh, it's it feels like you feel like undeserving of it, but also incredibly grateful. Because another guy who's in the same way poured into me a ton is Matthew West, who actually he happens to be my manager. But even before he was my manager, he was someone who found my music and randomly, before I knew him, decided to get my number from someone and FaceTime me. And it is the craziest story because 2 weeks before that, I told someone, well, I'll never meet Matthew West, so it doesn't matter. Because I'd always looked up to Matthew, his career as an artist and all the different things he did. And it was like God was just up there laughing, well, you don't know what I have planned for you. And then Matthew, same thing, massive developer. I mean, just an insanely successful, talented, amazing artist, songwriter, loves to give back. And so what an honor to be, one of the artists that he would choose to manage. And Matthew's poured into me a ton. I've learned so much from him. And so God has kind of always placed these legendary, just awesome men of God along the way for me to lean on and to learn from. And I know that not everyone gets that. And I feel incredibly honored and grateful, honestly. And I think God knew like Peter's going to need some people that are a lot smarter than him to kind of like help him a bit. And so it's been really cool. I'm really grateful.
Now, from what I understand, you have had some mental health struggles on the road of life. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. A big part of my story is that mental health has been kind of the thing that's been the big challenge that I've wrestled with through life. And so from a really young age, I was diagnosed with anxiety and like a form of OCD and just things that as a kid are kind of confusing, and stuff. And that was like my early journey with it. But luckily, like my parents were so good and they really helped me, with it as I was younger. But then when I got to my adult years and the real big stresses of life hit, I kind of had some really big moments where my anxiety got like just out of control. And I was dealing with crazy amounts of fear and panic and things that would cause, physiological reactions in my body, right?
I am a highly anxious, like medicated therapy, the whole 9 yards. And it's something that you feel like you just don't have control over a lot of the time. I mean, you don't have control over it. And it's like, my heart's racing for no reason. I can't make it stop, Yeah.
And so a big part of my life has been learning about mental health, working on rewiring my brain, I've gone through medication, therapy, all the different things. And it's just been this battle that I've had, my life. There's been moments where it's been years of it being fine, and then moments where it's been years that are like hell. Yeah. And it's a massive part of my story that I get to feel privileged to share now. At one point I felt ashamed to share, but I've realized that my brokenness has become kind of a big part of my testimony, because now I'm stronger than I've ever been mentally, but I'm not healed. So I'll unpack that for a second. But a big part of why I did this artistry in the first place is because I felt like I had songs and music that were tied personally to my story, that were unique to me. And I felt like I had a message that I wanted to help give people, because when you go through any type of mental health and you make it out the other side, the amount of empathy I have for anyone out there, I want to be an advocate to tell them like, you're going to make it. But I also want to let them know, like, I'm not someone up here going, hey, I'm healed. I got a divine healing.
I figured it all out. I'm perfect. Yeah.
I'm good. God did this. Cause I think there's things like that happen, and that's awesome. And I heard this thing that God will either be glorified in your healing or your sustaining.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm the sustained, because every day I wake up, I have to rely on God to get me from the morning to the evening, and it keeps me tethered to Jesus. But this is the other cool thing, is that I'm broken, but I've learned that broken things can become stronger depending on what source holds them together. And I have this guitar at home that's literally this example to me. I was at a church before I was at Lincoln's church, and a worship leader had this really nice guitar in his office, and I didn't have a nice guitar growing up. And so I would always grab it and play it for the youth ministry.
Yeah.
When I left, he gifted it to me. But before I left, he said, hey, this guitar was broken, but don't worry, like it's stronger than it was before. And I was like, well, what do you mean? He was like, look at the neck right here. And you could see like the neck had been like literally broken in half. And then it was put back together. And I was like, how is it stronger? He's like, because the new source that's holding the wood in place is way stronger than the original source itself. And then I went on to write and play that guitar, write songs on that guitar and play that guitar. And I felt like God told me, like, you're holding an example of your life as you do what you were meant to do, which is like, I'm just a massively broken human. But as soon as I let Jesus be the glue holding those pieces, now I'm stronger than if I had never been broken in the first place. And it's funny, I was talking with my buddy Josh this morning in the car about the fact that I think I've finally come to a point in my life where I can thank God for my brokenness, because it's actually, without it, I don't think I would either be following Jesus or be nearly as close to him as I would be. And for a season, for me to say, oh yeah, going through those mental breakdowns and the times when I didn't know I was going to make it out the other side, like that was so worth it to be close to Jesus. Like there was a time where I'd probably say yes, but in my mind go like, but confidently and fully being where I am in life now and being able to wake up every day with breath in my lungs and the gratitude that I have. I don't know if I'd be able to be doing what I'm doing right now here in this interview with you had I not experienced what I'd experienced and allow God to shape and mold and really break me so I could become stronger. And I think that's probably the case for maybe a lot of people listening. And I would say this, if someone's hearing this right now and they're struggling with mental health, and I know that's a wide spectrum of things, from specific diagnosis to depression and anxiety and all the different things, but whatever it is, I just want whoever hears my message to know, if I'm sitting here and you're hearing my voice, I promise you, you're going to make it. I promise you, because I am living proof of that. And, we don't have a billion hours for me to tell every story, but I just know this is a reminder to you, you're going to make it.
I think that's important for people to hear.
Yeah.
And it's good when you can share your story, because it does, I think, a disservice to our testimony and to the gospel when we pretend everything's always okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it seems to me like also this journey ties into your song.
Yes.
Where would I be?
Totally. And it's part of why it's one of the first songs I really wanted to be out of the gates, because it's my anthem to myself and reminder to myself of my past not being my present. And it's also kind of like my jab hook one-liner to the enemy when he tries to bring up my past, right? It's so often, I think, we get on the other side of something or running towards something. Satan loves to go, hey, but don't you remember back? Do you remember this? And I just, I've learned that when Satan tries to remind you of what you've done, you've got to remind Satan of what Jesus did. And so when I ask myself, where would I be if I didn't have Jesus? I get to say, hey, thank God I'll never know, because I got him and you can't take him. And that's kind of like, I needed that to walk into this season. And I think everyone can relate to that on some level when, one, if they know Jesus, they've experienced that transformation. So they know where they were before and where they are now. 2 Corinthians 5:17, the old is gone, the new is here. And then for anyone who might be on the edge, to see the life they could have, singing from victory. And that opening line of the song, I feel it every time I sing it, because it's standing where I stand now. I almost can't believe it, how good he's been to me. Every wrong turn he turned around. And I just can't imagine, if it didn't happen, how it happened. And that's me kind of owning, like, I can't imagine if I'd never went through what I went through to get to where I am now. And so that, and the last thing I'll say about it is it's up tempo and joyful.
Yeah.
because I'm singing from victory, and I want people to have music that brings joy from that victory as a reminder. And it's been really cool to see people connect with that on social media and online, and posting, people reposting reels of dancing and singing, and it's just, that's been the reward of all this, like, to go after it, release it, do it, and then put it out there in hopes that it helps someone. And then to see, we just got off tour this fall. I was out I was opening for Matthew West, and there's a bunch of people on the tour that knew the song, and we would close my set with it every night, and just seeing the joy in their eyes, it was unreal experience, and something I'm really, really grateful for. So that's going to be what I do, is I'm going to put my story into music, hopefully in a way that's relatable to people, and ultimately that tells the story of the gospel through my testimony,
Peter, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you. It's been great.
And thanks for piloting Breaking the Ice with me.
I'm here to pilot.